Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hoopers Lab podcast. This is the podcast where we talk all things basketball. I'm your host, Brody, joined here by my co-host, Riley.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. So, topic number two.
At tab
Um,
number two, gotta love the 5,000 ping Wi-Fi.
it's over 5,000. I'm gonna have to leave my PayPal or something in the description so people can donate to improve the Wi-Fi, please.
Data bills through the roof.
Yeah, honestly, I don't care, man. You know what? You're my Wi-Fi provider, so this is on you, man.
Hey, I'm on vacation for the next 8 days. As far as I'm concerned, there's no issue here.
Okay then. Well, so let's talk about I think the main discourse right now in the NBA, the main thing going around, is the MVP talk. Now, it shifted a lot throughout the
I was
year,
gonna say, in what way
and
are you, or in what way is this discourse?
I think Luka has really risen in MVP talks. Um, they've done really good in March, and they're the 5 seed now, so they've been climbing up the standings. Luka's still doing amazing. And he's second on the NBA's MVP ladder right now, which is the highest he's been all year.
I agree. My thing with it though is that I still feel like this is with Embiid out. This is like a one-man race right now. And I like the Luca. I don't know what's the word. The Luca, I guess, making the race interesting, but I still don't know.
Yeah,
I don't.
surge, like his late season surge.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and I really like the idea. I've been wanting Luca to legitimately be in the MVP conversation for a while, but I
yeah,
still don't
he has
know.
been our MVP for going into the
He's
season for
he's
years
been
and years.
he's been everyone's prediction for like the past like 3 seasons, but
He's only like 25.
yeah, but I just don't know if his case is still strong enough against Jokic, especially if the Nuggets end off the season as the 1 seed. Um, and if the Mavs stay around that 5-6 range, I still don't know if it's enough for him. Obviously, statistically, everybody knows that's not an issue. Um, but yeah, I like the fact that it's he's making it a conversation because, especially over here comes the hater in me, but especially over Mr. Alexander.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Shea would probably be my fourth in MVP race right now.
To be honest, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Giannis has like permanent voters fatigue since his championship. Um, it's
Jokic doesn't. What's up with that?
I know it's very LeBron-esque, but yeah, it is interesting because I think the reason Jokic didn't win last year is because of voters fatigue. So I don't know if that's
Mhm.
like helping him this year, but yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting.
It's interesting indeed. Like the Mavericks are the 5 seed now. I don't think they catch up to the Clippers, who are I think 3 games ahead.
I think the
But with
Clippers
the
have
way they're
a
playing,
I think the
yeah.
Clippers have a pretty easy schedule as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe
Could be
idea.
the opposite. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah. But the fact that Luka is averaging 34 points per game and 10 assists is insane. How he's not going to win MVP
And
with being the second leading assist guy and the leading scorer, and just like he had a 73-point game this year. Like if you want to talk about
he has
MVP moments,
yeah,
that is one of
he
them.
has moments, narrative, and anything. And honestly, he's probably the most deserving of it. I do feel like it's still the common vote will be Jokic, but yeah, he's done everything you can, and it's not even like obviously the Mavericks are a very heliocentric team, but they obviously still have Kyrie, and a lot of offense still has to go through Kyrie as well. So I think that's even more impressive, if anything.
Yeah. And I mean, they missed the playoffs last year. I know that it was a weird year,
That was a
but
very weird year.
I mean,
Very
they've overperformed for what their roster is outside of Luca. And I think that they have just been great. And I don't know, man. It's a close race. Luca's making it interesting. I think it's a bit too late for him.
That's my thing.
Um,
But I don't
yeah,
know. It's just like the narrative came
MVP is a
around.
late season award
Yeah,
though. At the
that's
same
true.
time,
It's just like the narrative came out too late, I'd say, because like Luca's like obviously Luca's been doing this all season. So the fact that it's just coming up now, I don't know if that's like just us as an NBA fandom and community being like naive or whatever, because like Lu Luca has been doing this type of shit for the past 3 seasons. But
this has been his worst month statistically. It's just
yeah,
the fact that the team is now the 5 seed and that they're winning more basketball games.
yeah.
So yeah, but this has got to be the best MVP race we've ever witnessed.
Could you imagine if
Because you got
Embiid didn't get hurt, bro?
yeah, that would be insane. It was a blessing for the voters, man. Because between Shea, Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, and Luka, who would you even vote for, man?
And
If
then
Embiid kept playing?
the
Uh,
Celtics crybabies have the audacity to bring up Tatum.
like Tatum is not
Like,
in MVP talks. Like he's fifth. Like, and that's fine. Like you don't need to be MVP to have your season be acknowledged.
have you seen
Um,
that meme of the guy like pushing and pulling, stopping and then pushing like a subway? It's like Jason Tatum leading the Celtics.
no, I haven't. But I think I get the point. Um, but yeah, I mean they're just such a great team, and Tatum isn't on the same level as those other guys individually this season.
Well, and like I don't even think it's like I don't even know how to explain it. Like I don't think it's that he's not on this. Maybe I guess like when you compare to like Luka, Giannis, and Jokic, like those are like the top guys. But I think like I don't think Shea is on a whole other level than Tatum. But like yeah,
No, I agree with
cause
that.
those three are like the top three. It should be the top three in the league, in my opinion, on like
I
everybody's
think they're
ballot.
top three in the league. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I don't think like I definitely think there's like a few tiers in there.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If you asked me who my MVP was like 2 to 3 weeks ago, I probably would have said Shea. I think Shea was my MVP.
Shea
Um,
Shea had a lot of hype at that, and I think I mean
yeah.
I don't know the 31 exactly score games every night from him has seemed to have gone away a bit since the league started calling less fouls.
I don't know if it's been that. I think it's been he's missed a couple games with injury, and
Yeah.
that's been huge on his MVP case, just because it's like, MVP is just such about like recency,
Well, how many
and
games
Luka's on the
has he missed
he
overall?
missed like three,
I was gonna say he
um,
doesn't miss a lot of time, I'd say.
and the team was really like they barely lost to the Rockets, and they've been in games, and Giddy was really good. Jalen Williams is a stud, and is like I think Jalen Williams is the most underrated
He's
player in the
having a
league.
fantastic
But
year this season.
he is such an amazing player. But that's a talk for another day. But yeah, like I haven't seen an MVP race this stacked ever, I don't
Yeah.
think, because Giannis is third, and like you could argue lots of years he'd be the MVP. Like if he was having the season he's having right now in another year.
Yep.
Um,
100%. Well, yeah, yeah, 100%. It's easily one of Giannis's best seasons. So it's just crazy that a lot of people don't even have them on their ballot.
yeah.
And it's not
The
even like
main thing
it's not
about
even like disrespectful either. It's just like that's just how good they're everyone's cases really.
yeah, it's a bit disrespectful.
Oh,
But it's
oh,
just
oh.
about how good it just shows how good the MVP race has been.
Yeah,
But overall, I think that the only reason people wouldn't vote Jokic is because of voter fatigue and
yeah,
just wanting to see something new. Like Luka's a cool little story, and I think he definitely will be a contender for next year, and he'll probably win it next year
yeah,
because that's just how the MVP award kind of goes.
yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I
So
I
yeah.
don't want to alarm you, but currently, Devin Booker scored 24 points in the first quarter of the game against the Pelicans. But
Alarm me. Why would that alarm me?
hey, he could go for 100.
Mm, I don't know, man.
He always
Well,
torches the Pels, man.
yeah,
Fuck Devin
yeah.
Booker.
Hell suck.
They do.
Um, but I want to talk a bit about March Madness. We're in the Final Four, and I low-key hate Purdue.
I know they've been doing a lot better than I anticipated.
Yeah, this has been the best they've done since 1980, I think was the last time they reached the Final Four. But there's been lots of discourse about Zach Edey
Yeah.
because he's a player that lots of people like he's killing it in college right now, but there
But
was
he
a
has no
scout
draft type.
in yeah, but there was an anonymous scout that said that he's just gonna be like Boban basically.
Yeah.
Um, but he's also projected to be a lottery pick right now for some reason. So
That
where
March
do you
Madness
kind of
that March Madness
yeah.
win sanity run 100%. I yeah, like I don't see him really being um any more different than just like a traditional type big coming off your bench, you know? I don't see the ceiling really.
Yeah, like as a backup center, I think that his ceiling is like an elite backup center, but
Yeah.
I don't really see him getting to like maybe like a fringe starter, but that's like a ceiling.
Yeah.
Um, and his floor is obviously like Boban, what he's doing, which is basically just like really efficient in his minutes, but just like riding the bench pretty much, third string center.
Yeah.
Um, like I do think he has a place in the league as like a big, intimidating guy, but I mean, he's not going to have the same defensive impact as some other taller players we're seeing in the league.
Yeah. I
His
agree.
feet aren't fast enough, and I don't know, just footwork in general. I'm not the biggest fan of him,
Yeah.
and he just doesn't fit the modern NBA kind of.
That's
So,
the problem with that type of big in general. It's just like there's no place for it really in the league at this point.
like if it was the '80s, people would be
The
moi
80s.
salivating.
Yeah.
Not the no, the '90s, because screw the '90s. That ball don't count.
Yeah, we don't like 90s basketball here.
Yeah, but he's projected to be a lottery pick, which I think is crazy. If a team drafts him in the lottery, then they are making a big mistake.
Yeah.
Um, Even though this is a weak class, like unless it's a team that, he's that missing piece for them on a team that like wants to contend next year somehow. But other than that, like I don't know.
He's a Pelican.
He's a I I, I
I
could
could
see
I
that.
could see it just because Jonas is a free agent. He's probably gonna get re-signed if we're being real. But yeah, I could see him. Yeah, because Willie likes his third string or likes to run Larry a lot. So
hmm And they also they don't have like they haven't drafted a center
in
or a big
forever
in
since I guess since
yeah,
Jackson Hayes,
yeah, basically. So like their
the
pipeline right
criminal.
now is all guards and wings and forwards, but they don't really have any bigs on the up and up.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, he seems like a Pelicans type pick. Weren't you like wanting Walker Kessler when it was his draft?
That was what last year? No, year
Or
before.
was no, but there
I
was a
re-
player last year that who did you want them last year to take? There
you
was a
sh-
center
you should
that
know this. There's only like one center that went in the lottery, bro.
God, I really don't remember. What team do you go to?
That'll give it away. Um,
Derek Lively. Derek
yeah.
Lively. Okay, that makes sense.
I really wanted them to get Lively.
Did they
Dallas.
pass on him, or
No,
or was
Dallas
Lively
was
gone?
Dallas was at pick
11 or something.
Dallas
10.
had pick 10 and he had
Yeah.
pick pick 14.
Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't pick a lottery pick on a guy like Zach Edey personally,
I
but
agree.
he could prove me wrong. Um, like I don't know. But we got UConn and Alabama, and then NC State, man, 11 seed.
I know. I
Um,
was gonna say I really want them to pull off the upset, but the way that Purdue's been playing, I don't know
I
if
don't
I
think
see it.
so. But
I if
DJ Burns is so fun to watch, though.
Mr. Burns, yeah. I just feel like it's inevitable that we're gonna get that
Purdue
with the
UConn.
Purdue UConn. Yeah,
Well, UConn's like victory margin is crazy.
I was
They
gonna
keep
say,
like
yeah,
blown out every team in the tournament. Um, and then I think Purdue is gonna make it to the final. I think that this is their year.
yeah. Well, Purdue's been
So
handling business pretty well as well, have they not? I feel like most of their games they've been Well, this one against
Um,
Tennessee was pretty close.
yeah, Tennessee, bro. Dalton Connect is a guy I really like. I
Yeah,
don't know how he'll like translate to the NBA because he is an older guard. But he's a player that I loved watching this March Madness. Probably one of my favorite players that I've watched
yeah,
in the tournament. Big fan. But yeah, we'll see. We'll do some more deep dive into college basketball when it's draft time. That's usually when I do more research on stuff.
yeah.
But it's good to get some names in my head. I really like Jared McCain, even though people don't like him because
Yeah.
of outside
Reason.
NBA topics.
Apparently,
Yeah.
from what I've seen, the Pelicans Twitter is really keeping their eye on him.
Okay. Interesting.
I know.
They, Pelicans just don't want bigs, man. So Embiid, there was a report about Embiid today. Have you seen it?
Yeah, what is it? I,
He's
well,
close
I
to
didn't.
returning, apparently.
Yeah, I didn't look at the. I saw Shams tweeted as well, and they said it was like as soon as a certain day. I don't remember how exact. I didn't actually look at the tweet. I just saw the notification. Mm,
Apparently, he can come back really soon. He's been ramping up in practice, and he could come back really soon.
yeah, according to Shams, we could see him as soon as tomorrow. So,
He's expected to play this week, I heard. That's what Woj says. So it's just interesting how they kept it. I'm very concerned just because with how under the rug they've been keeping things.
well, they said it
Uh,
was just what'd they say? What'd they call it? Contusion.
was it a partial tear, an
I
contusion?
think they
I
called it.
don't know
I think they said
terminology.
contusion.
Something like that. I think that they're downplaying how serious it is, and they're kind of trying to like give the least amount of details as they can just to make people more like optimistic. But
Well, what's
I'm
the
very concerned.
how far how are they from? Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned on the fact that like I feel like this could 100% be something that they could he could re-aggravate. But
Yeah, and like they're the 8th seed right now.
yeah, I mean, the thing is like I feel like there's no immediate rush because like it's like what's the worst thing that can happen? You fall, you don't fall at all because there's no way the Bulls or Hawks are really gonna catch up
No.
to you. And like,
Well, if you lose to the Bulls or Hawks,
well, they'd have to. Well, I mean, depending on how the play-in goes, I guess if
yeah,
you're Philly, you'd probably want to see Indiana. But I mean, Miami only shows up half the time to play basketball, so we'll see what they do.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be worried, especially knowing he can come back already. Even if you gave him like an extra game or two, like
Mhm.
I feel like there's not concerns standings wise. But yeah, especially for an injury-prone guy like Embiid though, it'd be I wouldn't be surprised if it's something that he re-aggravated and then comes out with news about it, after the fact.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what they
I
always
think
like
they
to
just
do.
want to kind of, yeah, yeah,
They always
exactly.
always got excuses for Embiid.
Well, that's also just like a playoff thing in general. Like the top stars, they play through these injuries and then
Yeah,
they underperform. Like Jason Tatum in the finals, he was like, "This big injury was aggravating me the whole time."
yeah,
And it's like, well, you don't say anything during the fact. So I actually, that's a big pet peeve of mine is when players use that as a crutch
yeah,
because like if it really mattered that much, you would say something beforehand. I don't
yeah,
know. Um, like Kawhi, it came out after he won a championship with Toronto that he was playing injured the whole time. So you have no excuse,
Kawhi,
Tatum.
Kawhi's just him. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. And then LeBron, when he lost in 2018, he was like, I was playing injured the whole time. And it was like, you weren't gonna
2018
win anyway, dude.
against the oh well, didn't he hurt his hand? I thought he like in the because that was the year where he soloed the Warriors and got
That
cooked
was,
in four because of Henny Smith.
yeah,
But like,
JR.
didn't he like
Yeah.
after game one? Didn't he like punch a clipboard or something and like fracture his hand or some shit?
Yeah, but then he started blaming it on that, and I don't think that would have changed anything.
That's what C.J.
Um,
McCollum prided himself for last year, playing with
he
an
pulled the
injured
Jaden
hand.
McDaniels
The J-
punching stuff.
yeah, when he bro, that was because that was just a like that was like they ended up winning that game too, which was also crazy. But yeah, that was just like a regular season game. Right at the end of the year, he's like, "Yeah, let me go punch a wall." Like, come on, bro.
And then Gobert and Kyle Anderson, like at the end of the season, were fighting.
Yeah, that
Like that
that
was
was
crazy.
crazy. And the fact that they won that game, man, that's embarrassing as a Pelicans fan. Whew,
and they almost took down the Nuggets, who won the championship.
they did. Well, that series only went five, right?
It only went five, but it was like
It
close,
was like
and the
the
Nuggets
Lakers.
players said that.
It was like the Lakers, because the Lakers got swept, but
Yeah.
like the victory, like the total points was always close.
Lakers fans will love to bring that up.
They
Um,
they 100% do. That was a good series. You still got swept,
yeah,
buddy.
yeah. The Nuggets are just so good in the clutch that like they'll honestly just play with you and keep you in games, and then they'll just be like, okay, time to win.
Well, because Jokic
Um,
is just like a machine, man. Like you just like can't. He can just like do what he wants on the court. Like his scoring ability is insane now, and it's also like just his ability to make reads is like one of the best ever.
his processing is absolutely insane.
Bro's a
Like his
10,000 dollar
ability to read
computer.
defenses. Yeah. Did you see? I forget who said. I think it was Tony Kukoc. Did you see what Tony Kukoc said about Jokic?
What was it?
He said that like he's no better than Dino Raja, and there was another guy he brought up, but he was basically comparing like the Jokic type bigs of his time to Jokic now, and he was like Jokic won't stand a chance against Dino Raja and like Arvydas Sabonis or something like that.
That's crazy.
Man's is an idiot.
Arvidas? That's wild.
Something like that. It was Dino Raja for sure. Vlade Divac. It was Tony Kukoc believes Nikola Jokic hasn't reached the level of Vlade Divac or Dino Raja.
Bro is like high off of something.
Yeah, that's. I didn't know Dino Raja was in the Hall of Fame. He only played 4 years in the NBA,
He's on the
but
Ringer
it's because
podcast as well, isn't he?
is he? I don't listen to
I
that.
don't really listen to the Ringer either, but I'm pretty sure he's on
Well,
there.
I'm guessing. Yeah, I don't know. Well, anyways, so yeah, P- Jokic still gets disrespected. He's the best player in our league,
If
and the
he
things he does on a nightly basis
if he
is
wins another MVP this year and another championship this year, what
yeah.
we gotta have that conversation about top 10.
I think he might have to. I
I don't think that's like out of the
believe
question at all.
I don't think it is. He'll go down as a great. Like when Giannis retired, or when
Giannis is
Gian,
that old man.
when Giannis won his championship, people were like, "This guy could finish. He could go down as top 15, or no, he could go down as top 10." But like Jokic has accomplished more,
Well, I
so
mean, technically they're like currently they're like really like
currently, but
the same
yeah,
amount of accomplishments. But yeah, like
I guess right now, yeah. But
they're basic.
projecting,
Yeah, projecting. Everybody started projecting Giannis when he won, and I feel like that was because he was so like he was what 28, and they were like that's the same trajectory as LeBron and Jordan when they won their first championship.
he was
And
26,
was it?
27.
Yeah, I
He
think
was
you're right.
either
20.
26 or
I think you're
27.
right with 27. But
Yeah, I'll
yeah,
check.
and like no one
He
really
was
said
26.
really. Wow.
He was younger than LeBron and Jordan. That's where the hype came from.
Yeah.
Because it was like those guys were 27 when they won their first championship. Giannis was 26.
How old is
Um,
Jokic?
I think he's the same age as Giannis is 29.
29.
Jokic
29, yeah.
is Jokic 29. Jokic is like 100 days younger, so they're like the same age.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the fact that it just came a few years later, but I mean, even still, like he had two MVPs, won a championship. Um, it should have been the same conversations that we had with Giannis. And yeah, if he can go back to back championships and win an MVP this year, I think there's easily a conversation for top 10 just because of how skilled he is. Like obviously, currently the top 10 are more so where they are because of their um, overall accomplishments and achievements in the league. But Jokic is just so skilled. Like some of that doesn't even matter to me.
Yeah, in terms of talent, he's definitely way up there. He just needs to get some of those more personal accomplishments, which I think will happen as
Yeah,
the season or as his years go on.
100%.
Um, it's so hard to fluctuate within like the top 10 though. Like it's hard to get into those conversations.
Well, cause yeah,
And
cause like even for
it's so set.
yeah, cause even for Steph and KD, like they've had to continuously be at the top of their game for like they're 35 plus and still are at the top of their game, and it's still only a question. Like a lot of people don't even have KD or Steph on their top tens, so like mostly old heads. But I mean, yeah,
I think I think KD. I don't think he's in my top 10, and if he is, he's like 10,
I think
and I
yeah,
think something like that.
well, cause yeah, I haven't came back to my ranking in a while, but Bill and Wilt are like not top 10 for me.
No, I think KD's 11 or 10 or something. And then Steph, I think, only entered my top 10 once he won that championship in 2022, 2021, 2022. I think he only entered my top 10 then.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
feel like that's like I don't want to say the consensus for a lot, but like for a lot of people that weren't believers, Steph had all the help in the world, no Finals MVPs.
yeah. I like to wait until players' careers are over just because you do never know.
Yeah,
Um, like, I'm not ready to have serious Magic versus Curry debates until Curry's retired. Even though the Warriors aren't putting a good team around Curry, he still hypothetically could win a championship. It doesn't look like they could,
he
but
has to
you
go
never
team up
know.
with LeBron.
Yeah, and then once you factor in like records and like all NBAs and stuff, like seeing how many more he could get. But yeah, we'll have to see. But back to Jokic, just such an amazing talent. And if he wins a championship this year, it just helps him a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Um, yeah. Um, I want to talk about well, how much time have we been going for?
Just under half an hour currently.
Okay. I want to talk about Scoot Henderson a bit.
All right, in
Um,
a good way, a bad way, or a lukewarm way.
in a good way, just because I'm not a big fan of writing off players right away, and I think that some of that has been happening for Scoot Henderson. Um, and I think the main reason for that is just because, I mean, point guard coming into the league, it's very hard to make that transition. And I
Yeah,
think that there's been a lot of rookies that have been drafted below him that have been outperforming him, and Brandon Miller, who it was like his rival in the draft, kind of has
yeah,
been way outperforming him.
he's been having a
Um,
really good season. Shout out Brandon Miller.
yeah, for sure. Brandon Miller's been great, and I love how he came into the league right away with that chip on his shoulder. I think that draft like stuff helped him.
Yeah,
Um, the doubters kind of having that. Um, but yeah, Scoot Henderson, he had the worst plus minus in a single game
I know,
the other
I
day.
know that that was crazy.
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of like the Darius Garland effect, and I think we've talked about this on one episode before,
Yeah,
but
well, I remember talking about it, but yeah,
yeah, where Darius Garland, like his rookie year, he was statistically the worst player in the league, and he came in as this young point guard, and people wrote him off right away. And now look at Darius Garland. I mean, this season he hasn't been amazing, but we know what he is and who he can be.
yeah. Well, and like obviously the skill sets are pretty different between Scoot and Garland, but yeah, 100% reading the game as a rookie point guard on a bad team is super hard to do. And especially with this Blazers team, I just don't like a lot of the fit they got going on currently. Um,
Mhm.
if we can get a good version of DeAndre Ayton, sure, you can keep him around. I don't know if that's possible for a full season and playoff run, but if you can
I
get it,
don't think
if you can get an okay version of him, sure, keep him around. But I think next to Scoot, you really are gonna need more spacing, because Scoot's going to be a person that's going to be able to slash, find his teammate. He's a fantastic playmaker. And the
yeah,
jump
that's
shot,
one thing that's been great this year. Like
yeah,
the big thing with him has been his playmaking has
yep,
been great. Obviously turnovers are an issue, but that's expected.
on a bad team,
Um,
100%. Yeah, and I expect the jump shot to semi come around. Like I think he's shown a lot more potential there in comparison to the Thompson twins. But yeah, I 100% think that even if it's just like a mid-range jumper, that's super like that one like Westbrook's MVP year. His little
yeah,
bunny
I was
hop,
gonna say.
mid range was like I swear that didn't miss. And obviously the 3-point shooting that season for him was an anomaly. But yeah, I
Or
think
even just like a floater can create that kind of same level of gravity as a closer mid-range shot if
exactly.
you can add. a floater like an elite floater to your game too, then that can open things up more.
Exactly. Like I think Scoot will be fine. I think he just needs a better team around him and a better fitting team. Like if you can get a wing or like a 2-3 who can lock up and then spacing as well for your 2 through 4 and then whatever you can find for center. Like I think you have a really good nucleus there. And I don't really know what Shaden Sharp's been up to this year.
He's
Um,
been injured forever.
I was gonna say he's been out for I
Yeah.
knew he's been out for quite some time, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's played a game in a while. But when he was playing, he looked really good. But yeah, he's only played 32 games this year.
Do you think they'll move on from Simons sometime soon?
I think eventually,
Because
I think that it's
I think
gonna be that way.
there's no way that Portland goes the
Small.
small backcourt again. Like there's no way. Even though Scoot's
No.
like more stockier and more of a built guard, if you can't have another 6'3" backcourt, bro. I swear.
Well, it's also just like I really like Anthony Simons as a lead guy.
As a
I
guard,
wouldn't
I
really want
100% agree.
Simons.
I think
Yeah.
Simons is an incredibly underrated playmaker. Um, his shooting ability is obviously off the charts, and just his shot creation in general is really good. So I think if he could have the opportunity to do that, not as a number one guy, but as like a co-star
Yeah.
or even a third option on a competing team.
But at least be the point guard too, because I think
Exactly.
that the shooting guard is kind of out of position for him.
100%,
Uh,
and I think that's overlooked a lot because he's been playing out of position his whole career basically, like first behind Dame and CJ,
yeah.
and now
hmm
next has to fit in next to Scoot, Sharp,
And
and
Brogdon.
Brogdon. Yeah, like they just have the
Yeah.
Blazers just have a lot going on right now, and I think
hmm
once they kind of sort that out, things will start to look better for them and their young group of guys. Because why do they still have Matisse Thybulle, bro?
What a waste. The Mavericks would be a 60-win team right now if he was on that team.
For real though.
Luka would be MVP. That was so dumb how the Trailblazers matched, man.
Well, how much like what does Thybulle shoot on threes? Like 30% maybe? That might
There's
be
no way it's
generous.
that high.
I was gonna say that might
Yeah.
be a little generous. But like
Uh 35
35, like if you had just a straight
on 4 attempts.
see, that's like not horrendous. And like if you
But
have
from the field, he's shooting below 40.
not that that like really matters. Like if he was on the Mavs, Luka would just give
No.
like he would just be shooting open threes. That's like literally it's literally like PJ Tucker.
And that's a good enough clip. Like his worst season was 30%,
Yeah,
and
he's like
for
not a
his career, yeah,
yeah,
for
he's
his
like
career he's a 34% shooter,
yeah, he's not a bad shooter. He just doesn't have any offensive abilities other than shooting an open jump shot, which like is fine if you're just going to be a straight lock on defense.
which he is.
Shout out to
Um,
Jonathan Isaac as well, also a pure lock.
yeah. Jonathan Isaac has no stamina though, but Jonathan Isaac has the tools to be great, and now he's kind of just not really
That one
having
year,
the opportunity.
when he went toe to toe with Giannis. Ah, what was that
You
back? That was I think that was the bubble.
you and I
Holy,
remember that series very differently. I yeah, I don't remember it like going down like that, my guy. But the thing with Matisse, yeah, like if he was on the Mavericks right now for the regular season, he would be elite. And then when it comes playoff time, obviously it's hard to have him on the court just because he would
they'll
be
leave him open all the time.
yeah. But I mean, he would have helped this team a lot, and the
Yeah,
Blazers are barely playing him. So, and they're not playing for anything. So it's like what's the point, you know?
I'm really surprised they didn't really make any moves at the deadline. Kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, I think they really wanna. Well, I mean, yeah, I wanted Brogdon to go, but they want to keep him, which I don't understand the Blazers, man.
I can
Like,
understand wanting to keep Brogdon because I think Brogdon's cool just being like a six man. But I think you really need to
just
move
for
on.
his sake, I don't like it.
That's fair. I agree. But I think realistically the person they really need to move on from is Simons. That way you can really start to like figure out who your actual core and nucleus is rather than just have like all these pieces. And that's the same thing with like obviously he's been hurt all season, but Robert Williams, like he's there as well. And like how does he fit in once he's back?
Yeah, I think Robert Williams isn't going to be the way. The player he was during that Celtics Missoula finals run, he was amazing that year. I loved Robert Williams that
Yeah,
year. I
the the
had him
de-
as
the
key
defensive
point some.
yeah, the defensive impact was insane. And like I think it's just gonna because he plays like an incredible backline defender type role, and coming
Mhm.
off of such a big injury, and for someone as injury prone as he's been, I feel like it's gonna be hard to be able to keep up that like explosiveness as a big, and especially since he doesn't
Yeah.
really obviously he's an okay for a big man playmaker, but offensively he really doesn't bring you a whole lot other than running and dunking. So I could see that not necessarily being the end of his career, but transitioning more towards like a just a solid backup big. And I don't know if
Well, yeah,
that's
'cause
on Portland, but
injuries,
yeah,
yeah, injuries help you lose that athleticism, and that's something that really helps his game.
yeah,
Uh, but okay, Anthony Simon. So he's under contract this year,
next year.
next year, the year
Oh yeah,
after,
because
and then he's a free agent
they
in
like just
2026.
they like just extended him too. So yeah, like that's the thing. Like if you're another team and you're looking to buy in on Simons, like you, it's not like and he's not on a terrible contract either. Like I think he's like mid to high 20s. So
Yeah,
like it's
it's
not
24, and then it goes up to 27. So that's not even
yeah,
bad.
that's not a bad
So
contract at all, especially with the way the cap is constantly going up. Like that's in a few years that'll be like pocket change, bro. That's the mid-level
yeah,
exception.
I think what will happen is that they're gonna draft someone this year. They're gonna draft someone
Probably a
next year, and
probably a wing.
trade them. Yeah, hopefully, I hope they don't just like stack
Get
guards
another
because
get
teams
another
do that
point guard.
sometimes.
Yeah,
Like the Cavs when they were just like when they drafted Sexton and then Garland back to
draft a
back, it was
point
like,
guard,
bro.
and then we're like, yeah, let's get another point guard too.
Yeah. I hope they don't do that. But I think with Simons, I think that on the last year of his contract, the Blazers will kind of have a gauge more of if they want to move forward with Scoot, which I think they
Which
will. And like,
if they don't move on with Scoot, it'd be because Scoot's a bust, and I don't see that happening.
no. But they'll also give it a bit more time to see how these other pieces kind of fall into place. And then I think that last year of his contract is when they trade him away.
Well, yeah, even just more of like a healthy season in general too, just to kind of see how everyone fits together. Because like we obviously,
Yeah.
because like I think ideally, assuming everyone kind of progresses as you're hoping, the backcourt of the future would be Scoot and Sharp. But like a good pivot, although they're small and won't be great defensively, an okay pivot is Simons and Scoot. Again, not ideal, but would still be fine.
Yeah.
And even the other way around, Simons and Shaden Sharp isn't a terrible pivot either if Scoot doesn't pan out the way you'd hope. But whoa,
Yeah. But this draft, we'll see what happens with this draft because I seen a report that like people are saying this is the worst draft in a long time, and
there's
they
just
do
like
say that a lot.
they do this does come up a lot. Oh, this draft sucks. It's just like
But
this.
this one I legitimately think is a bit weak.
Well, I think there's just very limited top end talent in this draft, which I don't think is a bad thing. Like Sar, I think is one of the only guys really projected to be a star type player. But
And even then, he's like a big, so it's hard to
exactly,
kind of project. We've seen varying bigs like Okafor and Wiseman, but then we've also seen like dominant bigs pan out good, like AD
yeah,
or Bam or guys like that.
yeah. And I don't
Uh,
think it's like I think the difference between him and them though is that he's pretty good defensively. But
I don't know too much about
yeah,
Sar.
I'm
I
pretty
just
sure
think,
he's supposed to be like a pretty good anchor type defender. And then
yeah,
hopefully the
I have
rest of the
trouble
offense can kind of
gauging.
come around, essentially.
Yeah, I have trouble gauging bigs when it comes to like the draft process. It's just
Yeah,
so hard to know like what's real, what's not, especially since like playing college, it's completely different for bigs.
yeah,
Um,
100%. Bigs and guards are 100% the hardest spots to play. But yeah, I think this draft isn't top heavy. It's very like role player esque, and you'll get a lot of
mhm.
pieces that maybe not contribute right away, but can become good role players and pieces on a contending teams down the line.
Yeah, and I think that there'll be lots of diamonds in the rough that we'll look back on and be like, how was this guy drafted so low? Like this guy's a star.
Yeah, well, even
Because
some of the top
there's
guys.
one of those in every draft.
Yeah, and even some of the guys that were like projected high have been consistently dropping. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like Buzelis, I love that guy, but he's dropped apparently a lot in the draft ranking. I think you told me.
I think he's sitting
which,
around like 10 to 15 right now, which is not too bad.
yeah,
But I think yeah,
at the
like at the
start of the
beginning,
year he was
yeah,
higher,
at the beginning of the year, I think he was like consensus, maybe even top
top three.
3. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Um, but yeah, we'll have to see with this draft. We'll see. I'm not too sure how much like 3-and-D talent there is, or like how that is, but I think there's lots of good role players and guys that you could take a chance on.
Yep,
But
I agree.
yeah, back to Simons. He's also going to be 26 once the last year of his contract.
I thought you were
So
saying
like,
he's 26 now. I was like, God damn, he's older than I thought.
yeah, um, yeah. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
Uh,
Caitlin Clark?
Caitlin Clark, you think I heard the people think she's gonna decline Ice Cube's offer to join
I
the Big
I
Three
think
league.
she will.
That's a
I
lot of
legitimately
money,
think she
bro.
will.
Cause like I saw like
Yeah,
the rookie contract in the WNBA is like what 70 grand? Like that's not much.
I seen the comparison, yeah. The big thing for me is I don't think it plays too much into money. I think there's two different factors that go into play. One of them, okay, so in between March Madness games, they're doing like a little like a 10-minute docu-series on Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And when she was like 6 years old or something, she wrote on like for a school project, like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or what do you dream of? And it was being a WNBA player. Um, and I think I think that may be a small thing, but I think that's important.
That's
Just
like a
because
pride
like
thing.
if you
Not even
if
pride,
you
but like
not pride, but like
ambition. I don't know.
I don't know, but it's like it's your whole goal, your whole life to get somewhere. And then there's another place that is offering you more money, but isn't like your dream. Like, the other place is your dream.
Yeah.
That's what she's working toward. And this other team is or this other place trying to like outbid um outbid her.
Well, yeah, and like
Outbid.
the only thing I'd say like realistically money wise is that like for any human, if you budget it right, $5 million is generational wealth. But I mean, the one thing is like I think she'll be able to make that type of money back from like endorsements and things anyways. So
That's the thing. I think that's a big thing as well. And I think that she would rather be a top star in the WNBA than, for cultural impact. I think she'd rather. I think it helps her be a bigger influence for like young girls.
100
Um,
100%. She's making the WNBA marketable. And that's not even like a
Same with Sabrina.
yeah, her and yeah, exactly. It's not even like a shot at the WNBA or anything, but like they are
Mhm.
making headlines and like actually generating a ton of interest around the league. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and then they'll probably have some stuff with Caitlin Clark in the All Star game, like what they had with Sabrina.
Yep,
The Dame and Steph
that was
versus Sabrina and Caitlin.
that was 100% like the best part of the night. So yeah, definitely they definitely need to bring that back in some way.
For sure. And like this isn't like I don't want this to be taken the wrong way when it comes to Caitlin Clark potentially going over to the big three, but like when it comes to male and female basketball, they're just played completely differently.
Yeah.
And I I don't think that as a great player you want to be seen struggling. I think there's a lot of pride thing there. And it would be an adjustment. I'm not saying it couldn't be done, but like your mistakes would be visually broadcasted for everyone everywhere to laugh at you
Well,
basically.
that's the thing. Like I don't know the difference between like the basically the greatest WNBA player we've ever seen versus like random jobber in the NBA. Like I
We'll
genuinely
never
don't
know.
know what the difference is. But like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if she went over to the big three and cooked everyone. Cause like what's it just like older majority like older retired NBA players? Like who's actually all even in that league?
Yeah. I don't even know who's like Gilbert Arenas might be.
Like Joe
Guys like
Johnson?
that though. Like guys from like 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like 40 like late 40-year-olds, maybe 50-year-olds. I don't know. Um,
Exactly. Like I could see her I could totally see her going and dominating that league and then it's like, okay, that's cool.
But for Ice Cube and done for the big league, it's very smart offense for him to make.
100%.
Yeah, like to just take that shot, even if he says no, like it's
Doesn't hurt.
take that risk. Yeah. But another thing when it comes to her, if she were to transition over to the big three, something that would have to be taken into consideration is pride, and that's for the other players because like these players are in the NBA. I mean, they're old timers. They were cooking in the NBA, and then this like they're gonna see it as this girl wants to come over to our league and rank us. Like they would go for her road. Like I think that it would just be like physical battles trying to push limits.
Yeah.
Like because they wouldn't want to be scored on.
They would not want to get embarrassed. So I agree with that.
They're older from a different generation as well. And I think that like NBA players are prideful in itself. When you add age and like that pride goes up with age as well. I feel like.
Yeah, 100%. I don't even know if I'd say it's pride. Like the way like some older NBA players be talking, it almost feels like delusion. Like even some of the things like someone like Shaq says on live TV sometimes, like, "What are you talking about, bro?" And what's he always say? Like, what did he say about? He's still trying to push that Bull narrative, how
Oh my
Bull was
God,
the first
no.
guy. Like, bro, give it a rest, my dog.
No, that's yeah. No, people like it's hard for older NBA players to talk basketball just because lots of them are very out of touch.
Yeah,
Um, just because the sport has evolved so much. Like remember when John Stockton said that Giannis reminded him the most of himself?
yeah. Uh,
That was crazy.
more like who he
Um,
wished he was. Like, come on, bro.
yeah, facts. But even like the Tony Kukoc thing we were just talking about
Yeah,
earlier in the show,
it
like
it's bait.
that's a prime example.
It's like it's honestly they're just like naive,
Yeah. And they don't want to admit that their generation was worse if it
like
was.
talent wise.
They,
Yeah,
yeah, they want to put their generation on such a pedestal because then it puts them on such a higher pedestal and it makes them look better.
yeah,
Um, so people talk up their own era so much. Um, like I've never seen interviews from like the 60s and 70s players, but if they were to talk on it, they would probably say the same things,
yeah.
you
No
know?
one was scoring 100 back in the day like Wilt.
Bro, the fact that we don't have footage for that is
I
insane.
thought footage
Like
came
we
out
have
of it not too long ago, or was it
I
like
remember there was colored footage of
yeah, there
Wilt
was footage of
like
something.
playing basketball.
Yeah,
But it wasn't 100 points, but like there was colored film of Wilt playing basketball and it looked like it was crazy.
yeah,
But like they have film from baseball games from like the 20s it goes back
yeah.
to, but they don't have like record footage of the Wilt Chamberlain
No,
game.
literally, they're like, nah, we don't. This NBA league, it's not gonna be big.
And Wilt is just like an urban legend, I feel like at this
He
point.
honestly is
Like
like just a
he's the Loch Ness monster. I don't believe in him.
what did
This man did not
what
exist.
was the thing about him that he slept with like 10,000 women?
10,000. Yeah, and then someone did the math and they were like, holy fuck.
Bro, I mean, I guess it
Yeah.
kind of like I don't want to get off. I don't want to stay on this
Yeah,
topic.
I was gonna say, I think we should stray away from that. Let's stick on basketball. But like the thing with his vertical,
Well, yeah,
like
didn't you have like a
that stuff,
50-inch
how much
vertical?
he can bench,
He had like
yeah, stuff
500
like that.
bench. The way
Yeah, there's
the
no
way the
way.
way people describe Will, you'd think he's like God, man.
Exactly. That's why it can't be real. There's no way it can be real. It's
Like
just
a 50-inch
proven.
vertical and a 500-pound bench might be the most impressive thing I've ever heard in my life. If that was actually true.
I think I seen a video before of someone like debunking it, and like his vertical was not 50 inches because like he was 7'2".
I was
Like if
gonna
his
say,
vertical,
and at
like
his
he'd be able to
size,
jump. So
yeah,
yeah, no,
at his size, like even bench pressing, like because the longer your arms are on bench, the harder it is to like press that weight back up because you just have such a long way to go up. And he's not like looking at pictures at Will. It's not like he's like a unit or anything. Like he's obviously got thicker arms, but he's not like John Cena or anything.
Is that why Desmond Bain is so strong?
That's why
It's
that's why he's gonna contest Wilt for his 500 pound bench press.
he won't have the vertical though. Um, Ja will. Ja will.
Devin Booker has
But yeah,
37 at half, by the way. He's
it's not that much.
going for 70.
Yeah, the Pelicans are gonna. They'll start double teaming. There's no way.
I don't know, man.
What's the score? What's the
Willie's
score?
pretty fucking stupid. That was the thing I was gonna say. It's probably gonna be a blowout. They're down by 20.
Yeah. Um, what's the score?
74-54 for the Suns.
Oh God, yeah. Booker ain't playing anymore.
Booker, he's not even gonna have to play the fourth. Oh my God, the bench has
Yeah.
3 points, bro. Who was it
Which Ben?
the Suns? Oh, I saw that with the Lakers yesterday. Um, Gabe Vincent in his return had like the only 2 points that the Lakers bench had. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, there's it'd be like that sometimes. There'll be games where like the bench is like crazy productive, and then games where they score like no points, and I'll be like, what?
Well, that's what happens
That's a
when you
very
have
mixed.
fucking Spencer Dinwiddie and Torian Prince as your only two other guys off the bench.
Yeah, honestly. Um, teams are starting to shorten their rotations. Teams are ramping up for playoffs, and I'm excited for it, man.
Yeah,
Um, I think we got like 2 more weeks
I
left.
was gonna say I was looking at the standings and the Celtics literally only have 7 more games left. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I think it's 2 weeks. I think the 16th maybe is when the season ends.
Yeah, I was looking at it the other
Um,
day.
something like that.
It might
So we're
even.
definitely gonna get to the point of our award show and like all NBA stuff
I was gonna say
and playoff
we
stuff.
definitely need to get our final predictions up soon.
Yeah, but the MVP race is so close; it could change at any moment. No, I think we've decided it's
Embiid.
Jokic, but I still want to.
There's still an
We
argument.
we could we could do that next
Maybe,
episode maybe. So
probably
if you're still at this point in the episode, then stay tuned because we're gonna do something fun.
something.
we'll, we'll
Well, I hope so.
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, this has been another episode of the Hoopers Lab podcast. We hope you enjoyed. If you're on Spotify, leave us 5 stars. If you're over on YouTube, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're here either every Monday or Friday. This is a
Well, we
weekly
mix it
NBA
up.
podcast. Hmm?
We mix it up.
Yeah, we just keep you on your toes, but this is your source for all things basketball, our weekly NBA podcast, the Hoopers Lab podcast, and we hope to see you next time. Take care and goodbye.
Adios.